Welcome everyone. I'm most excited to be here today and introduce you to florist and floral artist Zoe. Welcome Zoe.
Thank you.
Thanks for being here.
My pleasure.
So looking forward to learning more from you about your journey with flowers, not just in the making of flower arrangements but also in your beautiful artwork as well.
Thank you. Yes, it's been a long journey. I can really say.
So we look forward to learning more about that.
Thank you.
But also you're going to demonstrate something for us today, which, again, we look forward to seeing this beautiful compote jar. It's so lovely. So I know you're going to work with a nice display of flowers here.
Yeah, thank you.
How did it all get started for you?
Oh, what, in the journey of floristry?
Yeah.
And gosh, it was it's been a long journey, and obviously I'm from the UK,
Yes,
so I started
beautiful
out.
accent.
Oh, thank you. I started out in London in restauranting way back when I was in my early 20s.
Okay.
And I used to see florists come into the restaurants and set up these beautiful arrangements, and it was something that I think most of us have heard people say, oh, I could be a florist, it'd be really easy.
Yeah.
So I had it in the back of my mind that I always wanted to do floristry.
Great.
I then, with my restauranting, I moved to Indonesia, and I sort of said to the hotel manager there at the time, yeah, I'm a florist, I can completely do your hotel arrangements. And so I would get to go to the Singapore markets and see all the beautiful orchids and the beautiful tropicals.
Wow.
That were really cheap at the time.
Yeah.
And in abundance, and so I could take my pick, and he said, yep, go for it, take whatever you want. And then it got to the rearranging of it in the restauranting, and it was awful, like I was so bad. So I thought, well, if I need to do this, then I should learn how to do it. I didn't. I moved to New Zealand, and the time with the restauranting sort of became less, and the floristry became more.
Sure.
I went into a florist and I said, I really want to learn, and she was great. She said, come on in and you can learn from me and learn from the other staff that were here. And I think I was really lucky. There was a lot of patient people that were around me that allowed me to do that. I then moved to Australia and walked into a florist in the middle of Flinders Lane, and it was just the most beautiful place. I fell in love with not only the owner, not literally, but the owner. She was lovely, and she still is a friend of mine.
Oh, great.
And it was from there I was in there for about 7 years, and then from 7 years I went into the event side of things.
Yeah.
And it was a time in Melbourne where many of the florists it felt as though they were just starting out. Katie Marks was one of my bosses, and then the Style Co had just started, and so I worked for them.
Yeah.
Tori Allen Events, I worked for them as well, and so I got to really see a whole load of different styles that wasn't necessarily a niche. How some people become trapped in a style of floristry.
Yes.
I think I was really blessed that I got to see the beauty of a native flower, which is what Katie works with, or the beauty of just flowers en masse, which is what the Style Co were doing. And then because I think with events people, they tend to work with briefs that clients have given them. And so it was so random and so different that I really sort of had no pigeonhole that I could go to. So I became quite valuable, I suppose, in that asset.
You could be diverse.
Yeah, you could put me in something and it was like, no problem, I'll learn how to do it.
Right.
So that's
well done.
That's it. And then I sort of, after being a florist for a long time, should I start making something?
Yeah, sure.
After being a florist for a long time, I had I think, as we all know, as florists, it can be quite taxing on our bodies.
Yes, physically demanding.
It's physically demanding and mentally demanding. And I ended up having to have back surgery because of it back in 2017, and it really put a sharp halt on everything that I did. And it was a humbling experience because I was like, right, I'm turning 40 and I need to think of what to do. This isn't going to be sustainable. It isn't going to allow me to go further as far as I wanted it to do. And so I sort of think, well, what am I going to do, and how am I going to be able to make a career from, not only flowers, but going forward from flowers, because it isn't something that many people can. There's almost an expiry date sometimes with flowers. You can work with floristry for a certain point, and then something has to change in you. You always have to step further into it.
Your next evolution.
Become a manager of a business, or go into teaching, or something as such.
Yeah.
And for me, because my background was in art and my background was in design and photography, how can you not look at flowers and think of art and photography and things like that? And
so it
all came together, yeah. And during COVID, I think we were all sort of forced to rethink where we were going and what we were doing. And I sort of, whenever I wasn't working with flowers, I was painting flowers.
Right. Yeah.
Sounds really lame, but
no,
I was doing that, and then during COVID, I was working down in Geelong because I moved down to be with my partner when I had my back surgery.
Sure.
And I was dibble-dabbling in a bit of artwork. I never used to use watercolour, which is what my primary artwork is made with now.
Yes.
And my friend, she said, "Oh, you should put them online. People will buy them." And I was like, "Don't be silly. They're only little things." And I sort of took a big gulp and I put a post up online, and it was all through Instagram, and it just went bonkers. I mean, it was so wild. Like I didn't think anything would come of it, and I don't know whether I was lucky because of the timing of when it was, that it was a time when everybody was online anyway, and everybody was just had a lot of time to kill. So maybe it was that gave me a lot of benefit with it. But
possibly
since then,
a recipe of things that it's magnificent.
Thank you.
And it really highlights your love and appreciation for flowers.
Well, I think what I was doing is I had a girlfriend that I worked with when I was in White Moss, when it was in Flinders Lane, and her name was Amy, and she now works at Varzette. And I was fascinated by Amy because Amy I would see her looking at a flower, and she'd be like, "Just look at it. Just look at the inside of it. Just look at the detail. Look at the flower. Look at how it forms at the base. Just be mesmerised by it." And I never sort of went, "Oh, come on, this is hippie, you big hippie." But I became that person because with how I painted was all about the detail, and I tried desperately to be loose and be one of those people that are all, this is I can just be wild and free.
Oh yeah.
But I can't do it. I have to I get meticulous into it, and I end up sort of really getting right into the belly of the flower, which is something I really enjoy.
And that comes out in your painting. Like it feels like you know them intimately.
Well, I mean, all florists have a flower that they love, don't they? And
which is your favourite?
Well, hellebores are one of them. I can't just go past a renunc because of the petals. Again, it's the wave upon wave upon wave of petals that you just, the more and more they open, they become almost blurred around the edges because they're so just divine to look at.
Yeah. Oh, I've got two of your favourites.
I know. I'm so lucky. So that's pretty much what I've done. I still every now and again dabble in floristry, but just with the back, it really isn't possible.
Sure.
To do the capacity, which is a real shame because I do love it.
Yeah.
I do love doing events still. Yeah. But you have to.
You have to listen to your body, don't you?
Which it struggles to tell me sometimes, but I give it the good old argument, and then I sort of give in and say, okay, you win. I can't do these things that I used to do.
Look at this one; it's twisted.
I know. It's so fun.
So cute.
It's so beautiful.
So you had an event on the weekend.
I did. I was asked to do an event for Marshall White Real Estate.
Oh,
it was their gala dinner. And
Wonderful.
So we ended up at the NGV, and it was really nice. I walked in, and one of the security guards was there when I was delivering her corporate flowers long time ago, back in 2007.
Wow.
I said, "I recognise you," and she said, "Oh, how?" And I said, "Oh, I used to deliver flowers here back in 2007." She was, "Oh God, I've been here for that long." And I said, "Yep, you must love it." And she said, "Oh, I do, I love it."
Yeah.
So that was fun, and it was good to be back in the industry again and see everything and play with flowers on a capacity and just be in that hum and that vibe that events really does have.
Great.
I love
but
that.
not have to do it all the time, which is
No,
nice.
and I did a really good thing. I sort of said to them, "Oh, you can keep the flowers in the vases, and I don't have to come back to it." They're like, "Oh, thank you, that's so kind." And I was like, "Oh, you're welcome."
Yeah, anything but having to do a pack down.
Oh, that's the worst.
Yeah,
Absolute worst.
Well, for those who haven't, I mean, I'm sure most people are already following you on Instagram. That will be watching this right
maybe.
now. For those who haven't, and particularly seen your gorgeous artwork, what's your Instagram handle that they can?
It's Zoe. It used to be Zoe Langbridge Flowers, because it was obviously flowers, and then I started painting solely flowers. But now it's changed to Zoe Langbridge Art, because
Zoe Langbridge Art.
Yeah. So from after flowers, people started saying to me, "Oh, can you paint my dog?" And "Oh, can you paint my house that I grew up in?" And so I started doing lots and lots of different things, which is really lovely.
Yeah.
And it's allowed me to sort of do some really, really beautiful, poignant things for people, which I'm, you know, flowers, we're so lucky that when we when we work with flowers, we only make for the joy of somebody else's, you know, gift. It's you never, yes, you're making flowers sometimes for bereavements and flowers for sometimes really sad occasions, but it's only ever to make people feel happy.
Yes.
And so it's kind of nice that that's what I do through painting as well.
Yeah,
you know, I'm painting things only to make people happier.
Yeah.
You know,
I
had a lady that wanted me to paint a grevillea flower, and I was like, oh God, that's really hard to do.
Yeah.
There's so many petals, so many like twists and turns, and you can almost go blind from just focusing on it. But she said my friend had a stillborn, and she was going to call it grevillea. And I was like, oh, I have to do this. This is just incredible.
Yeah.
So it was. Yeah, it's such an honour to paint these things for people. I feel very humbled each time, and I'm all self-taught. Like I was self-taught as a florist, and I was self-taught as a watercolour artist. Like I never studied watercolour art. I studied art, and then and that was mainly in acrylics and.
Okay. And that was through school and
university. Yeah, university was photography.
And that was all in London.
Yeah, and it's only through sort of practice that I've
developed the skill.
Yeah. And I'm stubborn. Like I'll learn and I'll push until I get it right.
Yeah.
And if I don't like it, then I won't like it, and I'm like, that's it. You can't have it, and I have to do it again. And it can take a long time. So I know when you ladies said, can you paint something for me when I'm here, I was like, oh my God, it might take me ages to do, because I'm there just getting really cross at myself. And then the wine comes out, and I'm just
that's there. And that's
absolutely.
I think it's needed in a creative art, don't you think?
I think so too, and I think well, you're there with flowers as well, and I think it's always the same as you're a florist. You know, you have to make things that look, in your eyes, aesthetically beautiful and work harmoniously in the space that you're given. And I think we're all little perfectionists.
Yeah,
deep
I agree.
Down, really.
Yeah, it's always given like as a bad rap, and that it's not a good trait. But I think an element of having it is really necessary.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you develop it as well
Yeah.
as a florist to a degree. You sort of become a bit of a weirdo with all of it.
Yeah.
I have no idea what this looks like from the front, so I'll have to.
Yeah, I was going to say you're doing incredibly well to do that without a lazy Susan.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
And one side.
I don't want to cut these beautiful ones that you
gave.
So that's me in a sort of really open nutshell.
Yeah, great.
I suppose.
And so, so people obviously contact you and commission you.
Yep.
Do they generally give you, obviously for a pet, it's a photograph?
I work from photographs pretty much all the time. I think with flowers, obviously there's a shelf life, and because of the longevity of how long it takes me to paint something, you need lots of photographs to really be able to focus on it.
Yeah.
I don't do field studies. I don't go into the field and. I mean, other than working with flowers and taking pictures of flowers, is what I've always done.
Yep.
But most of the time, it's a picture that someone sent me, or a picture that I've sourced online.
Right.
And then that's it. I draw it out and get the paints out and get the colour palette right and work through it.
Yeah. And you do all sizes?
All sizes. The biggest one I've just done was an enormous hydrangea head that I took a photograph of in the botanical gardens just here.
Oh, great.
And I sent it to a lady in Dubai who's already got a big peony rose that she wanted. So it was all in, the peony rose is pale pink, and then her hydrangea is pale pink, and she's now thinking of the third flower.
Yeah,
and that's about this size. So the hydrangea head itself is about this big.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, wonderful.
I'd love to go bigger, but you know, it's hard to buy watercolour paper that's that big. You have to buy massive rolls, and that's the case. And
that's how it works.
Yeah, and it's hard to sort of lay on the floor and paint something.
And if you're shipping it to overseas,
it's really difficult.
Challenging.
Really difficult. Yeah, you've got to roll it up into a tube, and then you're worried about how it's going to end up on the other side of the world, as it were.
Imagine. I'll probably just out the way. Oh, that's looking very nice. You can see the front of that. That's looking gorgeous.
Oh, good. Don't look at the back.
These anemones are just incredible, aren't
Yeah, they're the dream, the black scented.
Pandas, are they? I don't think they're quite pandas.
Pandas
are really white.
Oh, they're pretty beautiful.
so nice.
There's just one other thing. Were you a marriage celebrant? just one more thing.
So when I had my back surgery, I had to think of other ways to make money, and because I loved the industry so very much, I thought I'll be a marriage celebrant.
Yeah, great.
So not only that I'll be a florist, that's no problem, I thought I could be a marriage celebrant, and I thought, but yeah, that's fine. Whenever we did arrangements and arbours and whatnot, you'd scuttle out of the way and you'd see, you never get to see the best part of the wedding, which is the wedding. So I thought, oh yeah, after my back surgery I studied to do wedding celebrity. Oh, it was the worst decision I'd ever made.
I didn't enjoy it.
I didn't enjoy it. I loved who I did the weddings for, but the public speaking part of it for me was so intimidating. It was, even though no one was looking at me, everyone was looking at the bride and the groom, I could feel my voice shake. I could feel my hands tremor. I did one friend's wedding, and I almost dropped her ring in the river, and I was like, oh my, because my hands are shaking so much. That's so scary. But during COVID, they said that we had to keep paying our fees to be wedding celebrants. And they were astronomical fees. And of course, I'd lost all my work. I'd lost not only some of my floristry work, I'd lost whatever weddings I'd had booked in. So I couldn't afford anything. And they said, as soon as you stop paying for our fees, then we take away your qualification. And they said, we weren't only not going to take it away, but we won't allow you to reinstate it unless you fully train again and pay the full fee again.
Oh, that's just.
So I was like, you know what?
That's very off-putting.
It's obviously a sign for me to not be doing it.
Yeah.
If I'm not only like wanting to vomit halfway through a wedding, maybe I'll just stop doing that. So I stopped doing it afterwards, and I wouldn't have had time anyway, because after COVID, I just became a full-time artist. It's really weird to say that,
isn't that great?
I'm a full-time artist.
That's so great.
Yeah.
Not many people get
it's not
to
easy.
say that, do they?
It's not. No, and it's not as though I'm a millionaire, and it's not as though it's you know, every day there's something happening, and there's a new job coming in. There is some really, well, much like floristry, and when you're a contractor, or when you're, you know, an independent, it's not as though it's constantly rolling in. You have to be patient and sort of save out your money, and then you have beautiful bursts where you can do stuff. I've been very lucky that I've never had to. There's been times when it's been like right on the line of about to be very poor, but then something more wonderful will come in, like a logo, or Universe does just drop something into my lap, which is really lovely.
That's so good.
So that's been good, and it's allowed me to go back to the UK a couple of times. My father's not very well, so I've been going back home to see him as often as I can, and it's mind-blowing that I've done that just through painting, which is lovely. You know, not everybody has that chance to do that, and I'm blessed that I had an out that I could come into from floristry, which is painting.
Well, I can't help but wonder if that's because you're putting so much beauty out to the world, that you're getting it delivered back to you.
Well, I hope so.
Because, it clearly your paintings and your floral artwork, but just brings so much joy to people. I know, even just seeing it on Instagram brings joy to me.
Yeah,
every
people
time
have
I see something.
people have said that, and it's again, it sometimes blows my mind that I have such kindness come to me when I have people contacting me and they say, oh, I want you to do this, I've been following you, can you paint, such and such subject for me? And it still, to this very day, just makes me go, what, how did you find me, and how did this happen? And I love it, like I love, I haven't got to the stage yet where it's a burden, which is really lovely.
Yeah. So you haven't been sent a request where you think, oh, I don't really feel like doing that one.
No, not at all. I mean, somebody
good,
said to me, I was always really apprehensive to paint faces because the amount of colours I've learned that goes into skin tone, and like 12, 11 colours to go into someone's face. And it isn't just, you think, oh, I'll make a peach colour. Yeah. It's really hard. Yeah. And so I always like, no, I don't do faces. And then one of the my friend's cousins, she contacted me and she said, it's my mother's turning 80 and I would like to give her a picture of my dad when he was young.
Oh, that's nice.
There's a picture of her mother on the wall behind him.
Oh, wow.
And I think he's no longer with us.
Okay.
And I thought, okay, well, I'll have to give it a go. So as long as you know that it's my first time and I'm patient. And it worked out really well. Like, I was really happy with the result of it. So
well done.
Yeah, maybe I'll keep painting faces.
Yeah.
But flowers are always my go-to.
Go-to.
I'm going back here after this and painting more flowers. I've got to do a wedding invite for somebody, and nice. They've got a couple of roses and I think a Fijoa flower because he's from New Zealand. Oh, excellent. So they want to try and do it and combine it all together, which would be really lovely.
Yeah, very good. And what about arrangements? Do you paint arrangements, or just
I've had people contacted me for wedding bouquets. So I recently painted for another lady in Dubai, another wedding bouquet.
Okay.
And that's a struggle for me, not only because it's a lot of flowers and it would take a lot longer. It's the multitude of faces that you have to deal with, and the whole subject is there as one as opposed to just one. Yeah. And so the bouquet, I've done 3 bouquets. One was for the florist Boutier Girls in Sydney. Okay. So during COVID, she wanted to do an isolation bouquet that was like an everlasting, and so she basically made an arrangement and I painted it, and then that was the arrangement that she sent out to people to say this will last forever. So that was the first, and I did another wedding bouquet, and then this other wedding bouquet, and it's difficult because the time frame that comes into it, and just there's so many depths and there's so many layers to it that it just becomes really, really difficult. I want to save that one for later. Okay, it's quite lovely.
Very good.
So I'm going to take you, little Rose. Thank you. I haven't painted many arrangements, but I will never say never.
But it's not something that I'd really contemplated, I guess. The amount of time that would go into.
To paint one flower,
the style of painting that you do.
Yeah, to paint one flower, it takes me sometimes a week.
Okay.
Which is sounds a lot. The one that I did for the hydrangea head, I mean, obviously that's a lot of petals. That took me about a month to do, because it was something that I dipped into every now and again. You can't focus on one thing for a month. It's really difficult. So I did other little jobs in between, and when I had a chance to dip back into that one again.
Yeah. Okay.
So that's what I did for that.
Yeah, wow. Yeah. Very good.
Thank you.
Oh, this is coming along beautifully.
I seriously can't see it at all. I don't know what's happening anymore.
And I love that you're reflexing the roses.
Oh, isn't that weird that we're doing that now?
Yeah.
I was talking about that. I just did the one at the NGV at the weekend. It was 600 stems of roses all reflexed in my back garden.
Oh, wow.
And I got blisters all down the side of my fingers. And I was cursing the person who decided to reflex a rose, and that was a good idea.
600.
600. It was wonderful. Lucky they were nice and easy to do.
Yeah. but they nice big roses anyway. And
yeah, they were
already a bit
the
soft.
Ecuadorian, sadly,
Oh,
Ecuadorian
okay.
roses, no
Yeah.
longer local ones at this
They're
stage.
the best
yeah.
ones to reflex, aren't they?
Yeah, they're so good,
Yeah.
and you give them enough time to sort of get out of that sort of cold neck that they're in to relax.
Soften.
They sort of really kind of get a bit flowery, and it's really nice. So
Yeah.
then you can
They just work.
give them a blow and give them a push, and,
Yeah.
and they're all good.
Yeah, great.
Yeah, so that was not easy, but
No.
it was definitely something that I
Yeah.
did, and yeah. So
How are we looking?
I don't know, how are we looking?
Yeah, look.
Looks beautiful.
Certainly looks it from this angle.
Yes, not from this angle.
No, it looks
We tried to
spectacular.
just go front-facing little girl.
That shows great talent to be able to make it from the back without seeing it. So no, it looks spectacular.
I'll just do a bit to cover up just in case we do turn it around. So yes, that's pretty much my
That's your journey. With
that's
flowers
my
and art
journey with
and-
flowers and art. I feel as though at times I've had I suppose 3 lives. You know,
Yeah.
the first one in restauranting, the second in floristry, and the third now that sort of
Yeah.
marry of the two together. Take flowers. Well, maybe even 3 lives, so 4 lives. So I've had the restauranting, then the floristry, then the photography, and now the flowers. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's
And the celebrating between.
celebrate between. Let's not even talk about that.
Yeah.
That wasn't even a
That's
dip
great.
in the ocean for the celebrity. Even though, you know, there's like I said, the people that I married, it was a really special occasion to be able to do that for them.
Yeah, it's a real honour, isn't it?
It is an honour.
Yeah.
It is an honour. Honour to be asked, and honour to be. And again, you know, another thing that blows my mind, that I was laying in bed, and the first person that contacted me was a friend that I used to work with in the Style Co, and she said, I'm going to get married and I've always wanted you to be my celebrant. And I was like, I wasn't even thinking about it. And she
Wow.
said, I just want you to
That's
know whether you'll
incredible.
do that. And I said, oh, okay, I'll give it a go.
Yeah.
Again, it was always, I'll give it a go, I'll give it a go.
So you throw yourself out there. And
Yeah,
try
pretty
new
much.
things.
Yeah, pretty much, and
Yeah.
see how it lands.
That's
and
great.
Sometimes it lands really well. Sometimes
Yeah.
it doesn't.
Well, it clearly has now. That's for sure. And I guess also just from the start, like already you started in art.
Yes.
You've gone back to art.
Yeah.
And having all those experiences in between has just kind of formed it all, hasn't it, to evolve as it is? Because having that restaurant background, I find anyone in floristry that's come from a hospitality background is so used to working in a fast-paced environment, on their feet, using their body, but you know, being creative at the same time. And also a good problem solver.
And
well.
being able to talk to anybody and everybody that came in front of you, and I think that helped me then when I went into a shop front.
Yeah.
That you could just talk to anybody that came in and put anybody at ease.
Yeah.
Really, really easily.
Such good skills.
Yeah, so that was really, and that did put me in good stead, absolutely. My first job actually though, so there was always something going on with me with flowers, because my first job was in a garden centre when I was 14 years old in the middle of London,
Yeah, wow.
So there was always something with me,
It's
with
always
nature
there.
that had to be my,
Fantastic.
in my vision, absolutely.
Do you have a vision for what's coming forward, or?
I'm going to win the lottery, so that's really important. What's going to come forward? I don't know.
Just wait and see.
I really hope that I can continue along this path. You don't make millions, and I know that's not the end game. I know you have to enjoy what you do, but you also have to, you know, maintain a life.
Money's important too.
And so you tend to find that you can't just be, well, I can't at this stage anyway, I can't just be an artist and not do anything else. I have to have little dabbles here and there, so hence the reason you do the NGV job, or you do a few deliveries here and there for florists, and you
keep your hand in.
Yeah, you have to sort of because it's hard. It's hard to, especially nowadays. It's really hard with the way the economical climate is going. Yeah,
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much.
No, it's my pleasure.
Before we finish, I would like to turn this around because you've done a beautiful job at finishing off the back here.
Oh.
And I'm always disappointed when I see florists that don't do that. So I think that's so beautiful that you've done that and just finished it off very nicely, because it is, as I said, disappointing when you just see, you know, a cage at the back or foam or anything
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
that. So, yeah, that's lovely.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you
I'm glad
so
it was
much.
okay from the front as well,
Yeah,
which is awesome.
it's stunning. It's absolutely beautiful, and I'm sure everyone will agree. So yeah, if you aren't already, as I said, following Zoe on social media, make sure that you do, and keep up to date with her gorgeous creations and artwork that she puts out there. But thank you so much for joining us.
It's my
and
absolute
sharing
pleasure.
your journey with us. It's
Thank
been
you.
great.
Thank you.
Thanks, Zoe.